Hey guys, what's up and welcome to today's video. Let's go ahead and get into it because the title is not clickbait, so let's go ahead and jump in. So I posted a couple videos up on my TikTok about my new job, which I kind of alluded to in a previous video, but yes, I just took on a new job and I am making six figures. So I wanted to kind of sit down and make a little bit more of an in-depth video. Like I said, I made a TikTok video kind of about this and I was getting a ton of different questions, a lot of people who were really interested, and I figured maybe if I just sit and do a YouTube video and kind of answer a lot of the questions that I was getting and kind of give like a full overview of like how I got here and how I was able to make this happen. I thought that that would be helpful to you guys. I know if I were in your shoes and I was looking to get into this, this would be a really helpful video if I had discovered it years ago. So if you guys have been following me for some time, you would know that when I lost my job in 2020 because of COVID, I kind of like took some time off and I was figuring out what I wanted to do. My mom is in tech, and so she was like, you should look into tech. And you know, I'm Indian, so everyone's like, look into tech. And I was someone who I didn't like coding. I tried taking like a couple online classes and I just could not digest that information. I was like, man, I'm never going to be able to get into tech because I don't like to code. It's something that's just not sticking in my head. I'm not good at it. I don't enjoy it. I don't know how I'm going to get into this field. And I ended up discovering UX UI design. So if you guys, like I said, if you've been following me for a while, you would know that I took a UX UI design bootcamp. So taking that bootcamp, I went to a place called Avocadomy. Yes, avocado, like little avocados. And I decided to do that because if I remember correctly, I think the price was just under $1,500 and it was only like a 6-week fully online boot camp. There were a bunch of reasons that really appealed to me for this setup. A, it was fully online. It was kind of middle of COVID. I also didn't really want to go anywhere and do coursework. B, it was the most inexpensive program that I think I'd seen anywhere. And C, it also was the fastest to complete. Most of the programs I was seeing were like 3 months, 6 months, a year-long boot camp, and this one was only like 6 weeks. So I felt like, you know, why not kind of get through the coursework and, you know, learn all the fundamentals and kind of get to work. I did a lot of comparing and contrasting between this. I was like, are there things that they're leaving out because it's such a, you know, it's such a condensed boot camp? I'm like, am I going to be missing anything crucial that I would need on my job hunt or anything later? And if you want, I'm gonna leave the link below for the bootcamp that I attended. On there, you can also schedule like a one-on-one with one of the mentors. So if you have any questions like, am I gonna be prepped to get a good job? You know, what do you guys kind of go over? That call really, I think, helped me in sort of solidifying my decision to go there because I was worried that I wouldn't be able to learn some of the things that are really essential to getting a job. And also I wasn't sure how many people who did this boot camp were getting a job. Also, if all these people were new to the field or if they were already designers and this was just kind of like a brush up boot camp, because I didn't know anything about it. So I didn't want to be like, this is just a quick little, you know, refresher or some new tools in the industry, because that wouldn't have helped me. So I really enjoyed that whole boot camp experience. And also just to give you guys some context as well, this boot camp, it gives you all of the info you need to set a foundation for a career in UX UI design. Literally goes through everything. You get mentors along the way. So you're always having someone who's an expert checking, making sure that you're on track. You can ask anybody questions. You get invited to this Slack channel and it's like a full community, both of students, mentors, and people like me who are recent graduates of the program who are now working. And so you kind of get a full cohesive look. And you get to see people from all different areas. A lot of people were asking me like, do you need to have a certain degree? Or do you need to like have a certain background in order to get into this? And what I love about it is you don't need any specific background at all to get into UX UI design. And it's also no coding, which I loved. It's a tech career that's creative and doesn't involve any coding. So I was like, yes. And I think what's really cool is being able to like look at and see where other people were at and how they're getting into their UX journey. And then what's also really cool is we have another separate channel that shows success stories or tips from grads, people who have just accepted offers. And what I like about that is you can see exactly where they're working, what their salary is, and what their background was. Because I know a lot of times, especially going into a job and you hear about somebody's salary or the role that they just accepted, a lot of times, and I've done this too, where it's like, oh, they must have already had experience, oh, they must have already talked about that, oh, they must already have industry knowledge. And what's really nice is to see people getting these awesome job offers, even though they might have come from a field that you wouldn't think can translate over. Like I've seen people come from education, some people who were in the service industry, sales, marketing, you name it. Everyone's kind of been able to make that transition. So that's really exciting and really reassuring. So after you complete that like foundational part, there is like a career jumpstart leg, which basically is where you do real client work. So in the bootcamp, you do one case study, which is you do the full entire UX UI process. But in order to get hired, you typically need at least 3 projects on your portfolio, which a portfolio is just like your website. It basically showcases all the work that you're capable of. Think about it. If you want to go and see, you know, let's say you're getting your kitchen remodeled and you want to look at a contractor, you're going to first look at their portfolio and their pictures and see what kind of designs and what they've recreated before, because that's what's going to make you want to call them. It's kind of similar to that. Companies want to see what you're capable of, what kinds of design strategies you're familiar with, what you've used, what your design style is like, and just basically showing off the work that you've done. The Career Jumpstart leg, what's really cool about that is you get to work on real client projects. So I got to work on real businesses or businesses to be, they were like pre-launch. And so you're working with new people you've never met before. You get put on a team, which is awesome because employers also want to know how good you are with working in a collaborative environment. So you get to work with a team and you guys bring this whole entire project to life. That really helps because it adds to your portfolio and it's just overall a really good experience getting to work with other people, but also refining the skills that you just learned. I found even just within those 3 projects, my skills progressed so much from the first case study I ever did to my 3rd project. It's pretty crazy how much changes in just such a short period of time. I would highly recommend making sure, whether you do avocado meat or not, if you're looking at a bootcamp, make sure that they have sort of some real life cases that you work on that go onto your portfolio, because that makes such a difference to employers. Another big question I got a lot of people asking me was, how long did my job search take? So from the time that I finished my 3rd project, I started applying, but I wasn't really like seriously applying. I was kind of like, oh, this seems kind of interesting, I'll apply. August was sort of like kind of applying here and there. I also was like on vacation some of the time, so I was like, whatever. And I feel like September was really when I started like actively making sure I was sending out a certain amount of applications every single day. After a while, you do realize it is a numbers game. It definitely got really, really frustrating. So I started seriously applying in September and I did not get a job offer until December. So it was like 3 months of battling it out, and trust me, throughout that, I was so frustrated. I was so annoyed. I was like, man, I really just did all this work. I feel like I'm in a really good position. And I was always reassured by my mentor, because I would always ask her. I probably drove her nuts because I was like, is there anything missing from my portfolio? Are there any red flags? Should I change my resume? Like blah, blah, blah. And she's like, literally, it's a numbers game. Everything you have looks awesome. It looks great. There's nothing you need to change. So just keep applying, something will happen. And lo and behold, she was right. That's another reassuring thing about being on the Slack channels. You can see how many rejections people went through, how long people were applying. Here, I was freaking out about 3 months, and only to realize that was kind of average. Most people took about 2 to 3 months to get their jobs, but it did take 3 months for me to get my job offer. I accepted a role that pays me 6 figures. I'm not going to share the exact number, nor am I going to share the company, just because I'm brand new and I feel like I probably shouldn't disclose that like on the internet, but it is as a UX strategist and or researcher. So what I do is basically research on the entire user experience journey. If you guys want a more specific video talking about that track to UX UI design, let me know in the comments below. I can make a whole other video about that. Basically, I think salary wise, to be a researcher, at least in my search, I found that research tends to pay a little bit more than a UX or UI designer or product designer. Again, this is totally dependent on the industry and the company. I've just found that research for some reason tends to pay more. Obviously money is a factor, but that shouldn't be your number one thing. You should definitely go with what interests you the most and where you feel like is fit for you the best. The good news is that being in design, while it is kind of creative, you're still under like the tech bubble, which means all that basically means is you command a tech salary. So your salary is definitely going to be higher than if you were doing, I don't know, like graphic design. So those were kind of all of the questions that I was getting in terms of like the process. So if you guys want a more specific video about like UX research, and the differences between that and like UX UI design, let me know. I hope that this video was kind of helpful if you're interested in getting into this field. I'll link the bootcamp I attended down below. Personally, I did a ton of research on bootcamps and I found that this was the best bang for your buck and gets you to that end goal. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure you comment below and like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.